My name is Nic Nakis, and this is my coaching business, Smart, Fit, and Clean. That name encapsulates my philosophy of mental fitness, physical fitness, and spiritual fitness. So when I talk about fitness, I'm talking about the whole person, mind, body, and soul. My mission is to set people free from the misconceptions they have in their mind and some of the misinformation that's being thrown at them by the society, especially by predatory industries like the fitness industry, the food industry, the health industry. I want to give people the tools that give them the ability to be independent in their health and fitness pursuits. And I want to elevate people to higher possibilities and higher capabilities for themselves. My ultimate goal is to change the world for the better. But I'm tired of seeing revolutions, whether they be metaphorical revolutions in the way we do things or think about things, or whether they be physical revolutions in which people die. I'm tired of seeing revolutions that make things worse. I think if we want to make the world a better place, we have to start within our personal sphere of influence and our personal locus of control. If you can improve your healthy lifestyle and improve the ground you stand on, then you're able to reach up and do things that make the world a better place for other people. So I'm all about saving the world one healthy lifestyle at a time, starting with yourself. I teach this through a process that begins with an authentic understanding of who you are, what you know from your experience, and what you value and want to achieve. And we build on that with a knowledge of principles that help you to be autonomous. So you're not dependent on a coach or a trainer or a nutritionist or some other professional guide to hold your hand all the time. But you become somebody who's able to take things into your own hands. Through this, we build the skills that help you to become the person you actually want to be and bring the things you want to bring into the world. So my qualifications as a coach are many, and they don't all fit on a piece of paper. I'm going to present some of them that came in the form of certs and specific experiences, but there's a lot more things that I've learned in my life and I'm carrying around as qualifications than what I can fit right here on this page. But to start with, I'm going to tell you that I'm an OPEX CCP Level 1 Associate Coach. That's the OPEX Fitness Coaches Certification Program, which I think is really the gold standard in the fitness industry. I'm a level 1 CrossFit trainer and a level 2 CrossFit trainer, and I was involved in CrossFit from 2003 until 2018. We'll get more into that story later. I have Precision Nutrition level 1, certifications in TRX, National Federation of Personal Trainers, some Iyengar yoga training, and some Olympic weightlifting training in the early days of CrossFit from Coach Mike Bergener. Through the National Outdoor Leadership Schools, I did outdoor educator mountaineering training. And I've done a ton of different sports and styles of training over the years. Everything from my professional Muay Thai fight to 3 years of Highland Games and a lot of things that I've played with in the middle. And for a little over a decade, I've worked as a professional fitness coach. That started off in CrossFit gyms in Seattle. I was in Phuket, Thailand at a resort fitness and MMA gym for a while, and then in other gyms and health clubs here in the Skagit Valley of Washington State. And I've seen a lot of different business models and a lot of different approaches to the coach-client relationship and the fitness training experience, and that's all helped me to devise my system. A little bit more of my personal story. I was a very active youth. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest in the foothills of the North Cascades Mountains and did a lot of stuff outside. My parents were outdoors people. I mean, we used to live literally in a treehouse, and we did a lot of hiking and a lot of camping and a lot of cycling out on the roads growing up. And I was also involved in youth sports, and I was in the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts for many years. But as a teenager, I turned my back on a lot of that stuff, and I became really kind of a messed up delinquent kid. What I had on my mind was to ride skateboards with my friends, to sneak out in the middle of the night to the train yard, to write graffiti on freight cars, and get in a lot of trouble and fights. at punk rock shows. And I, at some point, decided I wanted to join the United States Marine Corps. I spent all my time in those days training to join the Marines, doing a lot of physical fitness activities, a lot of running, a lot of pull-ups, a lot of sit-ups, taking apart guns, putting them back together, spending a lot of time at the recruiter's office. When I didn't go into the Marine Corps, however, life took a little bit different turn. I ended up falling in with a lot of the wrong crowd of people, and I got into a lot of destructive activities. And, you know, through things like a lot of beer drinking and junk food eating, within 3 years after graduating high school, I gained 40 pounds. And I'm a little guy, so that's a lot. I graduated high school at 135, and just after my 21st birthday, I was 175. I didn't like the person in my ID card, my clothes didn't fit, and to make matters worse, my appendix burst and I almost died. I was put on 12 weeks of bed rest. And during that recovery, I thought a lot about how I needed to get my life together. I became obsessed with diet and exercise. In those days, the internet was not a very good resource to learn about these things, and it was hard to find whatever information was out there. And I didn't have the money to hire a coach, to buy books, to even get a gym membership. So I was going to the library, I was working out in my bedroom or at the park. I would work out first thing in the morning and again at night before bed. And in the middle of the day, I spent a lot of time reading nutrition books and working on my food prep. Some of those diets that I experimented with at the time were a disaster. You know, so I made my body my laboratory. And I tried things that made me even worse, sicker and fatter, like the USDA food pyramid diet, which I followed fastidiously, and it was a mess. But on the other hand, I learned some great dietary principles from the commonalities between the things that worked, like the Protein Power Life Plan, the Atkins diet, and the Mediterranean diet. Eventually, I got into CrossFit, and I found that with a combination of the paleo diet and the zone diet, I was able to make a complete transformation. And through that period, I also went to college, and I was maintaining really great fitness and health habits. Then, after graduating, I traveled around the world, and my horizons broadened, and I began to experiment with a lot of new things. Different training modalities, doing things like acrobatics or martial arts that I hadn't done so much of before, but also spiritual practices like yoga and meditation and fasting. And, you know, some of these things were great mind expanders and eye openers, but some of them didn't go too well together. For example, I was doing fasting and also yoga and also experimenting with some plant medicines, and I started to have seizures. And I had another major health crisis, you know, and navigating that, kind of like looking at this fitness person that I'd become, but now I wasn't maintaining it. I was leading into more health crises from these kind of imbalances that come in. So I decided I just had to aggressively return to the gym. And pretty soon, I wanted to change my whole career and get into the gym. At the time, I was working in film and video production as a producer, making infomercials and corporate videos, and it just wasn't fulfilling for me. It was kind of a stressful and toxic industry in a lot of ways, and the fitness business was thriving. I had a lot of friends in that space, and it just looked like the place where I could be healthier and happier. So at the end of 2012, I started working in CrossFit gyms, and in early 2013, I moved to Thailand, where I worked at a place called Tiger Muay Thai and MMA in Phuket, and really just dove into being a group fitness instructor, a personal trainer, and a nutrition trainer. From there, I moved home to the Skagit Valley and began to work at a few different gyms, some kind of garage gym type places, as well as some great CrossFit gyms in Seattle that I would commute to. And I ended up being the personal training supervisor at a place called Riverside Health Club, where I also was the owner of record for the CrossFit affiliate. And there I managed a staff at its peak of 12 group instructors, personal trainers, nutrition trainers and massage therapists. I went through a ton of certifications and training during this period, and I had a lot of coaches working underneath me, and I could look at all their certs and training materials whenever they went for new qualifications. I just learned a ton, and I grew a lot as a coach and as a person. And I started to notice some of the things that we were doing wrong in the fitness industry. Definitely some of the things I saw wrong in CrossFit led me to drop the CrossFit affiliate in 2018. And some of the things I saw in the gym and health club model, like building dependencies of people, wasn't what I wanted to be doing and be a part of. So in early 2019, I decided to leave to start my own business, Smart Fit and Clean, and to believe in my own vision. So when I approach training with a client, I always set up the idea that your health is like a house that you live in. And like any house, we have to know that it must be built from the foundation first. That's the ground that it sits on, right? If you don't have a foundation, this whole thing's gonna fall over. You have to build a strong and robust structure because that is what the house is. That's the walls, you know? And there's gotta be a roof on top of the thing to keep the rain out and the animals out, right? So like that's what makes a house, right? When we're talking about your health and your fitness, what we mean with that metaphor is your lifestyle, nutrition, and exercise. You need a foundation that is going to give you happiness, health, healing, and recovery so you can adapt to training and survive the things that life throws at you. On top of that, you need to know that the foods you eat actually become your body. The nutrients in your foods are the building blocks of what you are grown from. So your nutrition has to support your lifestyle and your goals. And on top of that, the protective structure that covers the whole thing is exercise, actual physical movement and training habits. That's where a training program spends a lot of its time, but the foundation that is built on is always that lifestyle and nutrition. So whenever we run into challenges with exercise, challenges with progress not being made, or anything that is stopping you, we go back and we look at that nutrition piece. And if there are challenges in nutrition, we go and we look at that lifestyle piece, remembering that the foundation is of primary importance. And you could stop your exercise program altogether and just go for walks every day if you need to go back to that foundation and work on stress management, sleep hygiene, and food hygiene, and other issues there, right? So as we go forward in this process, that's just what I want you to remember, is that we build from the ground up. So the lifestyle is always the top priority. Now, I have a process of training that I've alluded to. I break it down into 5 steps: consultation, assessment, program design, implementation, and ongoing support. So I'm going to describe those for you. The consultation step is really about having a conversation, asking a lot of really good questions that help us both know who you are and what you're trying to achieve. Then we do an assessment. So you may have heard the axiom that what gets measured gets managed, right? But it's like if you were on a road trip and you didn't have a map and you didn't know where you were, you're gonna get lost. So assessment gives us an accurate starting place by knowing what's in the rearview mirror of your personal health history. What are you actually eating in a week? How do you move? What's your body made of? And what's your energy capacity? That assessment step gives us data that we can use to build your program. In the program design step, we're actually going to collaborate, looking at your whole year. What are the events and milestones that break that year up, like things you need to prepare for or things that are going to take you out of training for a certain period of time. And then in between those, we're going to build training blocks saying like for these 4 weeks, you're doing this, for these 8 weeks, you're doing this. So your focus will be different in different seasons and between different milestones. With that plan in place, we can look at a weekly split. So a lot of people understand this like chest day and leg day and back and bicep day, but it might also be broken down in like kettlebell day, yoga day, running day, right? So a training split is just how you divide your week into different training focuses. Then from there, we actually proceed to designing the workouts themselves. You know, like here's your warm up and you're stretching, or you're part A, part B, strength here, metabolic here, how do you cool down at the end, right? And then we also have to look at how that program overall through the year builds in the ways to address your unique nutrition and behavior challenges. With a really well-designed program in place, now it's time for implementation. And that means you doing the work to put this thing into action. I give tools for that. I use an app called Coach RX that delivers handmade workouts for you every day through your phone or through your computer or device of choice. I say handmade because these are not templated programs. They're not designed by AI or pre-made and I'm just kind of dragging and dropping. They're actually blank slate. I build them up with written instructions and videos. I teach, you build the habits. We have a communication process of getting results and feedback back and forth, and we watch trends of data to see where you're progressing. And when you run into a challenge, a stumbling block, or a hurdle, you have somebody who can help you over, which you wouldn't have if you were working on your own. That's really a lot of what we do in step 5, ongoing support, where each month we meet for a consultation to discuss your overall lifestyle picture and nutrition. We do assessments to look at actual measurable data that can inform your program. And we're always assessing like what is working, what isn't working, and how can we make this thing better. Before I go forward, it's important to know where the line is between what I do and what I don't do. So as described, as a fitness coach, I teach healthy lifestyle practices and behavior change. I help with nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle. I listen, I teach philosophy, and I inspire you to be a better version of yourself. What I don't do is anything that looks like counseling, therapy, diagnosis, or prescription. So it's nothing medical, nothing mental health. When we might get right up against the edge of some of those things, but that's where I'm going to refer you to the correct professionals that are qualified, licensed to deal with those matters. It's important that we define this line before we start. Another thing I don't do is show before and after pictures, because that's one person's journey and that's not you. That's not you before, that's not you after, and that's not you in between. Your story is your own. So when we think about success, I want you to be writing your own success story. When you feel better about the way you look, feel, and perform, when you've taken something that you were terrible at and made it the thing you're great at, when you've created habits that are going to stick with you for life and done things for the first time that you were never able to do before, you're going to feel capable. And that's going to extend over to every part of your life. Importantly, the results you get are going to be based on how much work you put in, how hard you try. So it's you committing to yourself that becomes the beginning of your success story. The timeline that I work on is a 6-month minimum program. My clients have an average time frame of 2 to 3 years. My longest client doing a program like this with me was 7 years. And that was really too long, honestly. I'd like to see people kind of pushed out of the nest and flying on their own before then. But this whole thing is really unique and individualized. So it adapts as you change. You know, I've seen people train with me for a period of time, leave for a period of time, return and train with me again. And that's what I want. I want lifetime client relationships, people who are going to come back to me with questions, who are going to send their friends and family to me as referrals. And, you know, we're going to continue to push this healthy lifestyle revolution out into the world. So with the idea and the intention of having those good relationships last, I have exit requirements to make sure there are no bad breakups. What that means is I need 30 days notice when a program is going to end. I know they're going to end at some point, right? Just let me know a month ahead of time. That's where we're going to prepare you to be autonomous so that you continue to make progress after the coach is out of the picture. And at the end, we're going to have an exit consultation, which is an opportunity to have a conversation about what happened in the past and learn what worked, what didn't work, and what I can do to make it better for other clients in the future. The commitment that I'm giving to you is to deliver monthly consultations and assessments, coaching in exercise, nutrition, and healthy lifestyle behaviors, and this ongoing guidance and refinement. What I ask for from you is that you follow your program, that you communicate clearly, including entering results to track progress, that you follow your nutrition plan, attend all the appointments that we schedule, actually do the work so that you get the results for yourself. And with the things you've learned, go out there and help other people. I have a few services. They are few, but they are highly refined and valuable. My base package is a coaching and personal training hybrid. This includes the full program that I've described with your monthly meetings for consultation and assessment, as well as 2 one-hour personal training sessions per month. This is available for local clients that are here in my Skagit Valley area of Washington State in the USA, as well as for remote clients anywhere in the world, because we can do this work through Zoom and other applications. I also offer the coaching program on its own without the personal training sessions. This includes the 5 steps that I've described here, including your monthly assessments and consultations. This is available to local clients as well as remote clients anywhere in the world. Additionally, I have personal training sessions on an hourly basis. These can be used for an exercise session or something like a nutrition lesson, food prep, cooking lesson. These are available to local clients here in the Skagit Valley as well as remote clients anywhere in the world. And lastly, I have on-site training, which is the only service that is not available to remote clients, but only to clients within my local area, within a 25-mile zone. This is for things like workouts and training sessions at your local park, in your home or favorite place to train, as well as food prep and cooking and nutrition lessons in your own kitchen. The getting started process begins with making the first payment. We're gonna put a card on file, and then my automated billing system through Stripe keeps all that data secure and make sure your payments come out on time every month. After that, we're gonna schedule our first 4 initial appointments. Then we'll complete some intake paperwork. I'm gonna email you a 6-month contract. I'm also gonna send you an intake form that has that personal health history and nutrition logs on there. Then we'll do our first 4 sessions. So the first month of this program is a little different than all the successive months because we're gonna meet once a week for an hour at a time. That first appointment is for our initial consultation. That's a lot of information gathering about you and your values, your goals, and experiences. The second appointment is that assessment where we're gonna do body composition test, a movement analysis, and a work capacity test. The third appointment is our program design session. So we're looking at what were the priorities that came out of the learning that we've just done about you, and how are we gonna lay those priorities out on that yearly plan. The fourth session is an implementation session, and that's actually like a personal training session where I take you through your workout, how to follow all the instructions in the CoachRx app, and I teach you some of the elements of exercise programming that you might not have encountered before that are gonna really help level up your workouts. You can find more information and contact me at my website, www.smartfitandclean.com, at my Instagram, at smart_fit_clean. You can email Nic, N-I-C, at nicnakis.com, NICNAKIS.com. You can call me on the phone, country code 1-360-672-4525. You can also find me using that number on WhatsApp. There are a lot of ways to contact me. So I hope you reach out, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.